Welcome to the Meathead recovery. I can help myself. It's not entirely, but we're going to talk about a physical component to recovery and how that ties in with the mental component. And with that, Mr. Josh, would you like to take it from there?
Yes. So the idea was diet. So like, and when people think of diet, it's like what you're eating, like meal planning and stuff like that. But when you're talking about sobriety and just as an individual, your diet doesn't just contain what you're eating and what you're physically intaking. It's all that you intake. So the physical aspect of it and the mental, psychological aspect of it as well. So being aware in newfound sobriety or in prolonged sobriety and recovery that you need to be conscious of what you're intaking on a daily basis. Your eating patterns are going to change as they should, because like before we were putting literal poison into our bodies. So now trying to change that by eating a healthier diet, not just sticking to sugar and
You motherfuckers in your energy drink, so
yeah, I can't really deny that. I'm pretty.
I drink the sugar-free Red Bulls for the most part, okay?
I have to get, yeah, you do.
I wish Dennis was here. No.
Right. But I survived off of heroin and sugar-free Red Bull for like a good week at a time sometimes, okay?
Good, that's rough.
You're like a fucking
Not proud of it.
cockroach.
Not proud.
There you go. Super
Anyway,
resilient.
sorry.
Oh no, it's a valid point. Like being conscious of how many energy drinks you take in, because you know instinctively you get one cup of coffee while you're here, and then it's like, oh dude, I need more caffeine.
Yeah.
That's not always true.
It's like the junkie mentality, kind of. But
It really is, and it's being aware of that. And I noticed that myself. I did that. My daily intake of caffeine
Start being a hype for caffeine instead of drugs.
was a little out of control, so I had to dial it back. And
Guilty.
I really don't try to venture past like 2 a day anymore, because I was doing like 4 or 5 a day. And it's like, okay, you're just gonna die at this point. So why continue doing that?
I mean, I feel like at this point it's like, that's so much caffeine, why don't you just go back to smoking crack?
caffeine, though, too, like everything else, man, is like diminishing return anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna just drink them until you're drinking 20 a day and you feel like shit?
Yeah.
You know?
And because you're gonna keep doing more, like it's like anything, you get a tolerance to caffeine and, you know.
Sorry to throw it off track, but
No, and like I was feeling like garbage at the end of the day, having to increase it more and more. And when you finally come down and go to sleep, like I just felt so sick. It was horrible. Being able to be cognizant of that now is an important thing to keep in mind. And then not outside of energy drinks, like who you're surrounding yourself with, so that your emotional state can be uplifted, and like-minded people. And then what you're reading, what you're listening to, is it conducive to your recovery? Is it conducive to a healthy way of thinking and a healthy way of living? Like every aspect of what you take in on a daily basis needs to kind of have a course correction from what we were used to listening and eating and involving ourselves with.
Right, so like everything you do contributes to your overall well-being, but especially like your mental and your physical well-being.
Yeah.
And I really like, as I mentioned to you guys before, that we're kind of feel like finally talking about like the mental health aspect of it. Because I've made it known in working with the guys here, like that is one thing I feel like pretty much every program never seems to talk about. You know what I mean?
well, none of them were made to address that.
Right, yeah, exactly. None of them made to
Which
address
is
it, so
probably
it's
one
not
of
something
the
that's
faults,
happening.
but
Right, and that's kind of what I feel. It's like, you know, programs are great, whatever program you work is great, but like, I don't know, have you guys ever met an addict or an alcoholic that didn't have some underlying mental health issues? Like, I have not,
no.
you know?
I think it's hand-in-hand shit. I mean,
Right.
dual diagnosis goes to a certain point, but I think there's gotta be a severity of it for that, but fuck, I do. I can't think of anybody,
That's what I'm saying, so.
not one person.
Like, the fact that it's just not something that's emphasized, it's like overall, like, well-being, like physically, mentally, like, you know, like you said, like doing things that contribute to a better mental state and physical state is a huge thing in recovery for me, and I know for you guys and every guy that we know that's doing well.
It's true. I mean, I'd even throw spirituality.
Yeah,
in that.
spirituality as well, of course.
And then the physical component always, I've never never seen anything address that.
But I mean, how did,
either.
okay, so how did
I mean, the program addresses the spirituality part quite well, I'd say.
right,
Like, I can't think of any of them that address doing something of physical nature for
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, and I mean, to me, like, how I like get my mental state better is by like living in a you know, whatever you wanna call it, a spiritual way. I just call it like, you know, doing what I know is right, you know, and a lot of people refer to that as like, you know, living a spiritual life.
Karma, baby.
Right. But, you know, addressing the fact that like, dude, like, most of us were not in a good mental state and physical state. So if we don't do something to fix that, it doesn't matter how great of a program you're working. Like if you're still in a bad mental state, or your mental state deteriorating, or you don't address it and contribute to it in a positive way, you're gonna have a tough time. You know, and that's where the working out comes in for me, and diet too, because it's like, if you're,
Good point.
you know, if you're eating better and taking care of yourself and sleeping better, and you're working out, you got a good gym routine, and you're feeling better about yourself, like we've talked about it all the time, man. Like the gym is more like therapeutic for me than I worry about, like, yes, I want to look a certain way, but I do it more for like, it's like therapy, you know. It's like my stress relief. It's how I,
Huge.
you know, keep myself
I
feeling
agree.
good, being in a good mood, you know, it puts me in a good mood and all that. So I mean, I just think that's one part in a lot of programs I've seen, a lot of places that kind of overlook, and you know, that's why you started getting the gyms in here, you know, is to help guys get into that. And like, I remember what it meant for me when I was here, man, because there was, you know, there's days where like you're in your head, or you're fucking, you know.
Most days.
Yeah, most days,
Especially in
right?
treatment.
You know, and how do you know, working out is a great way to kind of work that out and alleviate some of that shit that's going on.
It's the same for me now. I mean, I have worked out for competitive reasons on a fairly high level a couple times, but I haven't done that for a long time, man. I love to do it, so it's easy. But I mean, it's discipline too. But for me, I mean, you guys, you know, I know this is hard to believe, but I have like some aggression and anger problems sometimes. So honestly, if I didn't go to the gym and lift weights probably 4 or 5 days a week at least, I turn into a dick. Ask my wife. She'll be happy to tell you. But I mean, nonetheless, it's like mental health, man. Like,
It is.
that shit is mental health issues for me. I'm an overly aggressive, fucking sometimes poor, angry, reacting human being. I mean, I've gotten better at that with my mental game too, but part of that is because I can go in there and clear that shit out. My energy's better, my mind's clear. It's violent meditation for me is what I call it, which I know sounds fucked up, but it
No,
kind
that
of
sounds
is.
cool. I like that.
I get lost in my headphones, whether it's a podcast or it's music, and I don't give a fuck what's going on in the world, period, except for what I'm there to do.
Yeah, I think that is a badass way of putting it, violent meditation, yeah.
I don't know if this just sounds weird to me, but especially since I'm kind of new to workout regimens and like getting back into an active state, because I haven't been for so long, like damn near since high school. There's a lot of creativity that goes into when I work out, because I'm discovering different patterns or routines or and
Just a lot.
there's just a lot to take in, one, and then two, there can be some experimentation, and
It should be,
Oh,
because everybody's different.
I do it all the time.
and it's like, okay, so how am I going to switch it up today? Because I like to continually switch it up so that my mind expands. And that's like one of the things, and this is slightly off topic, but that's one of the things I really enjoy about cooking, which is like a huge passion of mine. It's one of my like foundations. And so one of the best things about cooking is the creativity aspect of it and like the art form that it is. And so now I'm trying to coincide, not the exact same mind frame, but a similar one to when I'm working out. It like broadens my horizons, and it makes me feel good, like I can accomplish this. I tried this new thing and it worked today, and it just puts me in such a better mood.
Yeah, confidence builder, right? Too.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say too, like, and I think like for just, you know, we're talking about.
And not because you look better, but because you know you can do shit and get somewhere. You get
Well, like,
results.
even like,
Yes.
even though, but like, even taking in like, let's think about like you do look better.
Oh no, that
You
too.
feel better.
I'm just saying not just
Right.
that.
But like
yeah.
if you're feeling better, and it's like you're setting goals in there, or maybe the first time you go out and worked out in a while, you're only benching fucking I don't know 135, and now you're hitting in 165 or something. You're feeling good, and you're doing a little bit better every day, and you're pushing and you're challenging yourself, and you're doing it. You're doing a weight that you're like, wow man, I can't believe I did that. That was awesome. You're feeling better about yourself. And you can get creative too, and you're like, oh man, I just figured out this, and I just kind of put this together, and what I mean, like this is cool.
You
Like
gotta learn yourself.
I was telling Maddie a couple weeks ago, like I took an idea that I heard on a podcast we were, listening, and I tried it with like a different muscle group in a different way, and I was like, dude, it felt awesome, it felt amazing, I felt great after I did it.
Discovery, man.
Yeah, kind of get your brain flowing, and again, you start feeling better about yourself, and everybody always talks about how like mind and body are connected, right? So like you're feeling good about yourself physically, and naturally you're gonna start to like get a little more self-esteem back, right? And if you're continuing to have that diet you're talking about of like taking in, whether it's reading or podcasts, listening to things, to positive things to contribute to a better overall mental well-being, you're feeding both of them at the same time, and it's such a fucking great feeling and a great combination for people in recovery,
I think it teaches fucking discipline, delayed gratification, and consistency too. Because if you can do it for a month, you can see change.
Yeah, there's so many benefits.
So like you can see doing all this shit today actually pays off in a month or 2 months or whatever. You can extrapolate that however you want to, but I mean, delayed gratification is definitely a fucking problem. Was for me, still is somewhat, but like, I don't see. I brought this up in groups, and I have not had one guy say it was like, "Oh no, I'm good with that. I'm patient."
That's
fucking important.
That's like commonality.
So like, it's just another avenue you can like learn some qualities that you need for recovery too.
Well, yeah, and what we were talking about last night, and what you said last night, is that you're able to apply these things in different parts of your life. We're talking about consistency and discipline, right? And that's how do you practice that? It's by going to the gym every day, no matter how you feel, right?
Eating the right shit every day.
Right,
You might want some pizza.
Reading that book that you told yourself you were going to read every day.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Let's not talk about what I ate last night.
We're all on different parts with that too.
Very much so.
Yeah. But that's fine. I mean, to each their own. Everybody's got, like, that's what I mean. There's so much, like, I hate this binary fucking culture and universe we live in where it's like this way or that way.
Yeah.
It's just like, there's so much individuality and different, like, even just working out physiology, bone structure, muscular, like tendon. There's a million fucking things. So, like, cookie cutter A is not going to work for you or me, like you or what I do. Everybody's got to experiment with all that shit and figure it out. That's another good thing though, because that's kind of recovery too. Like, what fucking works for you?
Yeah, that's what we talk about that all the time with guys. Like, find what helps you and do it, and stay away from the shit that doesn't help you or fucks you up. I try to make shit as simple as I can when I'm talking to guys. And like, it's basic. Does it help you? Keep doing it. Does it fuck you up? Stop doing it.
Like shock, it hurts when I do this, then stop fucking doing it. And then like being able to take, and I think we mentioned this either last week or the week before, but taking different aspects from different guys, or different people that you meet,
different programs,
different programs, whatever you hear, it's like, that sounds like it could work. Try it, and holy shit, it works. Then yes, like you said, keep fucking doing it. But it's just like with working out, experiment, like this is gonna make me stronger in this aspect. Like if this is gonna hinder me, I won't do it. If it's going to exceed my expectations, I'm gonna continue to do it.
Yeah. But I like to make the point of the connection real quick too. Like I know, like we talk about mental health, I know a lot of people that come in here or come through treatment, right, are either have severe anxiety or severe depression, right?
I can't think of
any
case that's not true in some percentage.
Right. Okay. So maybe it's not severe in both, but maybe it's like moderate, severe, or whatever.
Some of it either way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And what are some great things to do to help with both of those? Right. Working out. Okay. If you're super anxious, you have high anxiety, you go to the gym and you just violent meditation. You know what I mean? It's like
I can't say I stole that. That's actually my idea.
Right.
For a change.
But I like it because it's true, especially if you're like a high anxiety person, right? You just don't know what to do with that nervous energy. Boom!
Get it out.
It's definitely me.
Or if you're a person that suffers from depression, it's hard for you to get out of bed, but you can get a little bit of discipline and bring yourself to go to the gym all the time when you don't fucking feel like it. You're gonna start to feel better.
Oh, yeah.
Depression is gonna lift a little bit, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Dopamine levels regulate, fucking catecholamines.
yeah, you know the science
There's a
behind
lot
it. I
of
don't know the
fucking-
science behind it.
Yeah,
That
but
just
I
makes
mean,
me fucking
yeah,
feel better.
chemically it is going to
You're
help
right.
your brain situation too.
Yeah. Well, this guy has degrees in all kinds of things that I know nothing about, so, you know.
Likewise.
That's why.
Feels good, feels good.
Honestly, watch Andrew Huberman, man. He can explain this shit better than anybody I've ever seen. Not for a plug for him, but he does a lot of good work on YouTube. So, you know, if you want to learn some science-based tools for real life, for lack of, I think that's exactly what he says, with no cost to consumer, check him out. No, seriously though. I mean, it's long and it's scientific, but there's all like real life points to how to use some different shit. Like all that shit I put up about cold water exposure today.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but a lot of it I've learned from listening to him. Joe Rogan and a bunch of other people too, but he explains why it works. Which I like because I'm a scientific minded motherfucker sometimes. So.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I plug for Andrew Huberman and the Huberman Labs podcast, but honestly, it's really, I find it very helpful. So.
Yeah, any other benefits or anything? Any other points you guys want to make?
And I think, like you said, like all like mental, spiritual, physical, fucking all that shit kind of has to go together. And if you leave one of the components out, I don't think it's to your detriment.
Yeah, balance, right? Like, you know, people talk about balance, which is a word I'm not fond of very much, but
I
in
hate
this,
that word actually.
but in this aspect, it's like,
Cohesion?
it's balanced by like, okay, but like, you know, it's because you're working on all of them, right? Like, how are you're gonna develop or grow spiritually and then leave yourself in shitty physical and mental state? Like, you know, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Or you're gonna grow physically, but then, you know, you're still a fucking angry person all the time. Like, how are you gonna do that? You know, like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, if you work on all of them, like, dude, there's so many benefits. I don't even think we could possibly name them all.
Body, mind, and soul, right? Like,
Yeah. Absolutely. And if you're a person in recovery, highly recommend work on these three things and watch what it does for you.
Agreed. Gentlemen, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Some good points, and I learned some shit from both of you. So, thank you.
Thank you all the time.
Gentlemen, or ladies and gentlemen out there.
Ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
used to saying gentlemen to the guys in the center, but ladies and gentlemen,
I'm gonna
thank
start
you for
calling them ladies.
may do that too.
Motivate.
Thank you for joining us. As always, you know, we love your comments. Feel free to share. We actually help encourage you to share.
Yes.
And, you know, hit us up if you have anything treatment wise or any needs or questions that we can help you with. We'd be happy to.
Yeah.
Throw it in the comments, or I'll leave our contact shit on Instagram and Facebook and all that in the description. And I guess that's it, right?
Yeah.
Much love. Pay it forward, motherfuckers.
Have a good night, Joe.
See you next week.